My name's Kean. I'm with Rebel News. We're doing a story on your negotiations with Carolyn Bennett.
No, I mean,
Could you tell me who is paying you to do these negotiations? Could you tell me how you managed to steal a matriarchal name, Chief Woos? How'd you steal that name? It was a year ago today. How'd you steal it?
Fair questions not asked by a single member of the media party over the last week, as Justin Trudeau's cabinet minister has negotiated with that man there. Chief Woos isn't his name. His name is Frank Alec. He's a Indian industry lifer, and by that I mean the industry that springs up around constant negotiations, hassles, conferences, where billions of dollars of money gets funneled towards consultants rather than actually helping Aboriginal people. That's Frank Alec, but he calls himself Chief Woos, and the media party, in a burst of political correctness, repeats that name. Carolyn Bennett meets with him even though he represents no one legally. He is not a real chief under the Indian Act. And as Kean's question implied, he wrested that honorary title away from women, and it is a matrilineal chief system. That is, it's passed from grandmother to daughter to granddaughter. And as you can see, Frank Alec is none of those things. Joining us now from Burns Lake is our friend Kean Bexley. Kean, great reporting. How did you find Frank Alec in our vast north?
It was a lot of waiting and a little bit of luck, but the researchers that we have at Rebel News helped me sort of whittle down his location to the general town. And then I just figured he had to fill up with fuel eventually. Even if he doesn't support a pipeline, he's still got to fill up his truck. And I was right. So he eventually came to the gas station, and that's where I was able to ask him a few questions.
Now, he didn't answer anything. I think he is not used to being asked any questions other than, how wonderful are you? You asked him questions going to his taking of that title away from the actual hereditary chiefs, and also who's directing him, who's paying him. As we know, he has a consulting firm. He hasn't disclosed who his clients are, though, has he?
No, he has a consulting firm that he's operated for about 7 years, and we're not totally sure who is covering his costs. We're not sure who's paying him to handle these negotiations with Carolyn Bennett. We don't really understand anything about his motivations because not only do we not know what this agreement entails, nobody has been told, the Canadian public hasn't been told, even people within the community so far, these clans that I've talked to personally, they haven't been told either. So nobody knows what's going on except for the Trudeau government and this Frank Alec guy who seems to be the least qualified person in the world to be overseeing these negotiations with the government.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.